Hey everybody, it's Ben, and I'm back once again with another video for you guys. Today I'll be reviewing Excalibur issue 3. The series is written by Claremont and illustrated by Alan Davis, and on this issue once again we have Paul Neary on the inking, Glynis Oliver on the colouring, Terry Cavanga is once again the editor of this series, and we have a guest letterer of L. Louis Buhalis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, it's Buhalis. So our story starts out with a woman named Vixen and the team of her cronies basically breaking into a prison in the United Kingdom to basically break out one of the prisoners and net themselves a cool £1 million in terms of their hiring fee. At the same time, you have them being double-crossed and snitched upon to the authorities, and the police are actually lying in wait for them in this prison. But in the ensuing confusion, after one of her team members blots out the lights, you then have them discovering King Marco being held in the prison in a status cage, which is about the only thing that can hold him. Or, as many people know, King Marco is actually the Juggernaut and the half-brother of Professor Charles Xavier. And you then have Vixen and her team making a deal with the Juggernaut to basically, for him to break them and himself and the rest of his fellow prisoners out of the prison. At the same time, you also have the Queen's own personal royal guard at the prison trying to stop the breakout, to no avail. At the same time, you also have Captain Britain, or Brian Braddock, arriving on the scene along with the rest of the Excalibur team. And as you've seen from the front cover, that does actually happen, in that Juggernaut does actually manage to punch Captain Britain across the greenery out the front of the prison, much to Cap's annoyance, and he then decides to once again go back after Juggernaut. At the same time, there's a really great scene for Kitty Pryde, or Shadowcat, as she uses her phasing powers in order to stop a police car which some of the prisoners have absconded with and are trying to escape in. And there's some really great dialogue from Kitty Pryde, especially when she gives the prisoners an ultimatum after they fall out of the car, as she manages to make the car intangible along with herself using her phasing powers. Basically saying that my pet dragon Lockheed will fry you where you stand unless you get back in the car and go back to your cells. And there's another really great dialogue exchange where she says, "I hate to ask, but I can't drive shift yet, so can one of you drive?" which I thought was a really great moment. At the same time, you also have Cap not really faring so well against the Juggernaut, but at the same time you have Nightcrawler managing to take down his own portion of inmates from the prison using his really cool acrobatic and fighting prowess. At the same time, you have Megan coming to Captain Britain's defense, and even the Juggernaut says, "I don't like hitting girls, but I don't like running from fights either." So you then have a great team-up moment between Rachel Grey, or Phoenix, and Kitty Pryde, as Kitty manages to phase Megan through the Juggernaut, which then leaves him open to a psychic attack from Rachel Grey, or the Phoenix, which was another really great team-up moment, and a great moment of Rachel actually being showcased as actually being able to take down the Juggernaut, which is a really great moment. At the same time, you also have our team basically having to deal with their own personal drama as well, as they've managed to relocate themselves to Brian's lighthouse out in the middle of nowhere, as they feel being set up in a city is more dangerous to innocent bystanders, and so they decide to set themselves up in Brian's warehouse. At the same time, the move doesn't go very well, especially when some of Kitty's possessions get destroyed with moving the boxes into the building. At the same time, you also have Cap being confronted by the rest of Excalibur about his drinking problem. It's not that he's an alcoholic, but he drinks way too much alcohol, and even Kurt says to him, "Are you even aware of how much you actually consume?" Brian unfortunately reacts very negatively to this and takes off as a result. And you then have a really sweet and a really endearing scene of Kurt actually embracing a crying Megan, as she feels that it's her fault that Brian has taken off and that she's ruined everything. And Kurt is just holding her in the rain, just comforting her, which was a really, as I said, a really sweet and a really endearing scene for the two characters. At the same time, you also have Brian reconnecting with his old girlfriend, Courtney Ross, as he basically talks to Courtney about his life at the moment and about having to balance between being a superhero and being Captain Britain, but at the same time he also wants a part of his life to be not tied up in being Captain Britain and being a superhero. He just wants to live life as a regular Joe and, you know, have a relationship and settle down and whatnot. So there's some great internal struggles for Captain Britain, and there's some great relationship sort of moments between Courtney and Brian. At the same time, upon his return, you then have Kurt proving that he's the heart and soul of the team and the glue that holds them together at this point. And he basically makes them all agree to put their past unfortunate happenings in the warehouse behind them and to start afresh as a team. Once again, Chris Claremont's writing on this is just fantastic, coupled by the equally fantastic artwork of Alan Davis, the inking of Paul Neary, and the colouring of Glynis Oliver. If I had to give this second issue a rating, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Chris Claremont, if you're a fan of Alan Davis, if you're a fan of Marvel, if you're looking for a really great and sadly very underheralded and a very underrated X-Men series to get into, I cannot recommend Excalibur enough. More especially if you're looking for a less expensive series to get into, as Chris Claremont will be coming back to the X-Men books in April to write X-Men Legacy Volume 2, Issue number 1, which will actually focus on Kurt Wagner or Nightcrawler. So if you want to get a grips with Chris Claremont's writing before April, then I definitely recommend you check out the back issues of Excalibur, which I also have issues 4 and 5 to review as well at the moment, as I myself am starting to collect the back issues of this series in my local comic shop. So as I said, 4.5 out of 5 for Excalibur, issue number 3. Really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. And that about concludes this review video, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Didn't like it, thumbs it down. As I always say, if you thumbs down the video, by all means, please feel free to tell me why in the comments below, or send me a private message. And if this is the first time here, by all means, if it's your first time here and you'd like to see more of my videos, by all means, please feel free to subscribe. I cannot talk today. And until next time, this is Gambit896 signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.